how you know somebody doesn't respect you. They listen to reply, not to be understood. They cut you off. They minimize what actually matters to you. They laugh at your boundaries, and then they call you sensitive when you try to hold the line. They show up late, they cancel last minute, forget the things you've told them, because in their world, your time, your energy, even your voice aren't a priority. They're just an option. You see, there are two kinds of people. Those who adjust when they realize they've actually hurt you, and those who expect you to adjust so they don't have to change. You don't need to be disrespected loudly to be disrespected deeply. Sometimes you'll see it. It's just in their tone, in their patterns, in the silence after you're known. Respect isn't what they say when they're watching. It's how they act when they think you'll tolerate it.
The flow insane, take my spot, so the range. Shoot my shot with perfect aim. 3rd degree, that perfect flame. Ain't no sleep, that's the game. Oh, so southern, that's the slang. When they see me, that's the main. Chasing checks and fly like planes. Big old stick, I bought a cane. Flick my wrist and bought the ring. I'm so boss, we're not the same. Paid the cost and kept the change. Now I'm walking Hall of Fame. And I reside in the cloud. Grand wishes with these bitches. Taking pictures with the crowd, and I'm out.
Yo, 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 yo. What up, what up, what up, what up? Peace, blessings. Glory, praise, and honor to the Most High. Happy Thursday, good people. I hope all is well with each and every single one of you. Let me make sure this is right. Gotta get the name up there. For sure. Shout out to my poets, writers, content creators, all the in-betweens. Miss Scorpio Rising. What up? What up? What up? What up? What's the word? What's the word?
Bang.
Happy
bang.
Thursday to you. I hope all is well with you. Salutes to everybody, man, that's been tapping in over the last couple of weeks. I appreciate y'all, the feedback and everything. To the panel, Rob, Sydney, Nat, all y'all, man. Wherever you are right now, I hope you staying cool, hydrated, all that good stuff. You see the title. We got a goodie. This is gonna be an interesting one. I see Randy's in the studio. I'm about to pull her up. Max will be joining us shortly. So in the meantime, in between time, let me get Randy up here on the big screen real quick. Let's chop it up. Is this the one I want, or is it this one? Let me see. All right, there it is. What up? What up? What up?
Hey, you'll have to excuse me. I'm driving home from a really big job in McDonough, so that was a haul.
How was it?
Stationary and it was good. I have to go back tomorrow, so I'm not finished yet. For the Any Girl Collective, because I offer that as one of my services that I provide. I clean out closets and organize them, and then help those women kind of get a new wardrobe with the pieces that I select.
Respectfully, of course. Shout out to you. Keep doing your thing. That's beautiful, actually. Max just joined us. Good evening, young sir. How are you doing this evening?
I is good. I'm good, but sorry, I had to. I'm doing all right, by the grace of God. Just grinding. So I'm home now.
I hear it.
There's one of them. One of them, huh?
Yeah, both emotionally and physically. So hopefully I can sleep better today. Been for a long day tomorrow. A lot of shopping people show up to my spot on particular holidays, and they make it hard to take a break.
Right.
It's to the point where we got other departments helping the one department now, just because it's that bombarded. I'm like, wow. So,
I know the feeling, brother.
how are you guys doing? What's up, Randy? You're driving in the dark.
Yeah, I'll be stationary in a minute. I'm driving home from a job. I had to do a closet clean out for a client of mine.
You clean out closets?
So I clean them out. It's one of the services that I provide. I'm a mobile thrift store and style curator. So a personal stylist.
Nice.
And I primarily help women who are starting over. It's something that I started when my breakup happened. So I didn't really have the money to be able to, do what I wanted to do in terms of my clothing. So I started thrifting, and then I was like, surely other women need this. They're starting over too. Like I met a lot of people on Threads, and it just became a thing. So.
Oh, so you're on Threads. Nice. That is how I came to be about here. So Threads is becoming a very interesting format. Where I'm like, all right, you find everything there. Basically, what Facebook groups were trying to do, or still try to do, Threads kind of took over for that. Although you do tend to run into the same 3 topics, which can get a little annoying.
Oh, not me, but that's because I bounce around.
No, like on Threads, the algorithm is what I'm talking about. Like you run into the same 3 topics, at least for me, and I'm just like, okay, like
I never had much success with Facebook like that. I don't know.
Oh, Facebook. Are we talking about Facebook or Threads?
Well, I was talking about Threads. I was saying that I brought it up, saying that Threads kind of picks up where Facebook left off in terms of like, how people are like, hey, we're doing this or that, like what Facebook groups do, like filming, casting, or stuff like that, like job postings, basically.
Got it.
Yeah, I always had more success on Threads, and Threads is still fairly new. And I started out on Twitter and IG. Those weren't really moving as much. So shout outs to Threads, because everybody that I've connected with over the last couple years has been from Threads. So I mean,
that's
I guess
how we met, isn't it?
Yeah.
Literally all 3 of us.
Yeah. But I do got a clip I want to play for y'all, man. Y'all may or may not be familiar with Blueface. I was about to say Blueface. Blueface. I get tongue twisted sometimes. He was dealing with Christian Rock for a while. If you know who she is, I mean, that whole thing was messy from start to finish. Nothing about that was healthy whatsoever. He just got out of jail not too long ago. Still doing music, still an entertainer and an influencer by default, I guess, if that's what you want to consider it. But he got some heat, some backlash for this particular clip. He's dating a couple of 18-year-olds, and I don't know necessarily if it's just about that or not, but I wanted to get y'all take on this. So let's play the clip and peel the layers back. This is for the people who didn't get a chance to see it, by the way. Because I know everybody got different opinions about the age gap between men and women and all that. So I'm interested in hearing what y'all got to say about it. So I'll bring this up on the big screen and let it rock out.
Like, chat, you gotta think, chat. Every year, it's a girl turning 18. I mean, they updating like cars. This is 2026 right here.
Okay. With
2026 in the back. You know me? I don't want to go get the 2002.
You don't want that old ass Benz no more, baby.
I don't want the 1993 Hyundai. You know me? I need me a 2006 Corolla.
Bro. You don't want that motherfucking Toyota. You want a Hellcat.
Oh gosh.
So I'm gonna let the ladies go first. Randy, if you want to kick us off with some of your initial thoughts on the clip or just the age thing in general, Miss Scorpio, I will give to you just a second. I see the question.
I mean, I just guess I don't understand it. It doesn't really make sense to me because, like, what do you like other than sex? What does an 18-year-old possibly have to offer you? I don't even know how old he is. How old is he?
29.
Okay, yeah. What do you guys have in common? Like, their frontal lobe hasn't even developed yet. So it's strictly about one thing and one thing only. So to me, it's just like it just further perpetuates the ridiculous over sexualization of young girls. Like, it just feeds into the problem that we already have going on, which is young girls are just getting too busy, too young, with too many outside influences influencing the fact that that's what they're doing. So it's just like off-putting to me personally, because I don't really understand why you would want to even be around an 18-year-old who just graduated high school or whatever have you, that has no knowledge on real life or anything of like real life experience to be able to add to a conversation, really, unless they are super well seasoned at that age for whatever reason. So for me, it's just like, I don't know, it just perpetuates a narrative that really is kind of gross to me personally.
Max, you got it.
Sorry, I was laughing at the situation. Like, why is a dude? First of all, that video was just.
Also, you're like a loser. Sorry. Sorry, but that's like
no. First of all, you know the funny thing is the way they're talking. I personally would not date anyone below like maybe mid-20s at this point. Maybe not even that. I look at what they're most likely influenced by at a certain age. 18 is still a kid. You are, for whatever reason, considered an adult. That rule doesn't make sense to me because you can do everything but drink at 18. And yet, that's not put into question sometimes. Why is it that you could do everything else at 18 and not drink? Like, why are you considered an adult at 18? At 18, me and my friends, I mean, people saw us as smart, but, you know, we're nerdy guys, so we're a little bit more into certain things that most people probably don't care about, or they more a little bit more secretive about. Him being 29, him being 29 is like, I'm like, okay, at least you're not too old, but at the same time, I wouldn't touch anyone. I wouldn't be dealing with no one below their 20s. Like, if you gotta go like that, like, I don't. The fact that they were comparing themselves to cars.
Wait, do you even own a car?
Well,
That's what's
I was like, I'm like, you don't want a 1993 Honda? I'm like, bro, I could make better use out of my 2004 Honda. You know what's funny? Like, I I don't know what to say. I mean, they're comparing them to objects, at least a car. The funny thing is, the girls are going along with it. So either they have the mindset in common, or the girls are that young that they haven't really picked up on the fact that this don't feel right. Obviously, I can't speak for them, but just looking at the clip, I was like, I was like, well, if their mindset is similar, I don't know what to say. I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend it. I don't know what you're looking for. It really depends on what he's looking for, honestly. But that's borderline. Like 21 even for me is borderline. I know people who are young and they're fairly smart, especially in faith, but you know, they're 25 years old at least now. You know, so I don't know what else to say.
You know what the problem is? Everybody's having sex before marriage. Because technically nobody is supposed to be doing anything with just anybody. You're really supposed to be with one person
Let's go to electric car.
for the rest of your life. You're supposed to date, vet, do your research on the person, and then determine based off of the vetting process.
Yeah.
And that comes with a number of things if we really want to be technical about that. Based on the information that you extract from the man or the female, you're supposed to determine from that if this is the person that you are going to be with. Sex is supposed to be a intimate thing that comes attached to the spiritual, mental, emotional romance that's supposed to come with it. Intimacy is not just about sex, but see, because we've already said, you know what, the hell with the Bible, the hell with the rules, forget about the laws and the commandments and the structures that are put in place. We're going to do what we want, and we're going to put labels and we're going to put titles on it. That way we can feel good and feel better about doing things outside of God. And because we've done that, now we have all of these different conversations about, well, you're too young to be with this person and you're too old to be with that person. Well, you weren't supposed to be dealing with other people until you were first of all, your parents should always be a factor in the type of man or woman that you're eventually going to be dealing with. The tribe is supposed to be there. There's a lot of stuff that's absent from this, but I don't agree with cougars. I don't agree with sugar daddies. I don't agree with women dating younger men. I don't agree with younger men dating younger women. All of it is out of order to me, but I digress.
Well, how much older for a woman than versus the younger guy? I dated an older girl before, but she was like a few years. But then again, it's personal preference.
I think, like, so here's my thing, right? When you get introduced to certain things in your life, it could either give you a positive experience or a negative one. And oftentimes, people who are broken because of relationships, they're broken because of what they were introduced to. Like if you are accustomed to dealing with a certain type of spirit in a person and you don't know how to recognize it, you'll keep on dealing with the same spirit in the person. It won't even have to be the same face or the same body, but it could be someone who has that familiar spirit. And it's like it does something to your psyche. It makes it hard for you to look at the value within a person, or it makes it hard for you to trust, or makes it hard for you to understand who it is that you are supposed to be dealing with, because all you know is the bad boy or the toxic female who is always screaming and yelling, and she doesn't know how to move a certain type of way because she wasn't raised to be a wife, or the dude wasn't raised to be a man or a father or a husband, you know. So it really, to answer your question, I know I was kind of going all over. To answer your question, I guess it depends on the experience, um
Mm.
and like the age gap, because at this point the rules are off the table for most people. We don't really care about waiting until we're married. So if you dealing with somebody, you're going to have to deal with them based on certain principles, and that looks different to everybody.
Yeah, yeah, it's one of those situations that I don't. I mean, I don't know. I don't follow what the world does like that. Um, so it. I see what you mean, because sometimes people can make the argument like maturity age doesn't always equal maturity, because
Definitely
you could
not.
be because you could be 21 and be very mature. I've been considered like I've had people call me, and this is other people's words. I've been considered to be an old soul to people, and
Same.
I'm 32. They've been saying that for like years. I'd be like 18, and they're surprised at how I talk and everything. So I'm like, I guess it's just because of what I'm into. Maybe that's what it is. Because as years went on, people just kind of got a little. I don't know what to say. I don't want to say nothing bad, but I can relate to what everyone else likes. I'm into things that are not popular nowadays for the most part. Very niche things. So I guess that's why. You were gonna say something, Randy?
I wasn't.
Oh yeah.
I was
I
just,
don't know. You're just agreeing.
yeah. I mean, people have considered me to be an old soul as well. So like, I do. I mean, but for me, like, I don't know. I don't. I guess for me, it's more about having something in common with someone is far more important
Hmm.
than like their age per se. So like for me, I feel like I'm stuck between kind of like a weird place because I'm 35, but I have a 14-year-old. So like not everybody my age has children or has had children. So they don't really know how to have that commonality with me. But then if I go to like an older age, that just doesn't really often hit either
What?
for me. Um,
Yeah.
it's like they don't have, I guess maybe the youthful side still, perhaps, that I do in terms of like music and things that we like to do, and just, I don't know. I'm not really like attracted to older men like that. So it's hard for me to say.
Hmm. Yeah, I
Uh,
hear you.
so I don't really understand what these young girls like. Even when all my high school friends used to go to the club at like 18 years old, 17 years old, 16 years old, like they would go with like all these super older guys, and to me it was like, ew, no thank you. Like I was
How much older are we talking?
like at least 5 years, at least 7 years, but like that's still a good bit of years, like at that age, like you're still supposed to be at like high school parties. I don't know. I just didn't find it to
Hmm.
be like for you to showcase these young girls at clubs and like they're your, I don't know, arm candy, I guess. To me
Yeah,
it didn't sit right with me. I was never into it, so I don't really, I feel like
yeah,
I'm a little bit of a different breed.
yeah. Because you know, it's funny. It was interesting when I was in high school. When we were seniors and we had all the freshmen coming in. One of my friends was dating the freshman. It was becoming this thing where a couple of the guys were dating the freshman girls. I'm just like, what are you gonna do when we're out of here? Because once we're out of here, we can't really deal. We can't really be with them technically. Like they're 14, we're 18 years old. Like if they were junior, I wouldn't be saying nothing. But
Right.
by the time they out of here, we're gonna be 20. They're gonna still be a kid, and you know it won't be legal for us soon. Well, actually, no. Actually, by the time they'd be good, I guess so. But still, it was some of us still felt a type of way. Like some of us was like, "What are you gonna do with a friend? Like what are we gonna do with freshmen?" We're like, "Oh yeah, good point." You know, like some of the guys kind of came to the realization. Some of them were like spoken to by some of the female friends that we have. Like they were looking at them like, "Why are you dating freshmen? Like, what's the point?" Unless they were jealous, but at the same time, it's like it was one of those things like, what are you gonna do? Like, why? They're 14, we're 18. What are you gonna do after this? We can't be with them after this. So that's the thing. People do flings sometimes. Lust can drive a lot of things. And sometimes it's subtle. You know, it's like that. Like we lust for something that's more, you know, for lack of a better word, like what feels fresh to people. Like oh, like girl. I don't know what his mindset is, but maybe it's because an 18-year-old girl won't will probably be low key, maybe submissive in ways that he wants his women to be because he doesn't want to deal with certain things. That's just my thought. I don't want to. I'm not assuming nothing, but that's just a thought because I heard from there was a guy who's years ago. He was red pill though, but he made an interesting point that sometimes the reason why some guys go after younger girls, younger women, like within legal range, of course, is because they're not influenced by the the very toxic side of feminism to the point where like if you try to if you're a traditional guy, right, and most of the women your age are not traditional at all now because everything else has influenced them over the years and because of everything they've been through, then guys tend to, when they meet younger women, they're not as influenced. There's still room for them to be influenced by either a traditional value or a liberal value. And according to him, I forget his name because it was years ago. I haven't seen that stuff in a minute. That according to him, that's a reason why some guys date younger women. I personally wouldn't go that far, but I'm like, well, I get what he means, but as time goes on, the room to influence anybody on a traditional value varies even more. To a degree, there's some people flipping back to traditional or conservative mindset because some are realizing, like, you know what, we're too overstimulated, things are a little too out of hand. You know, some things are starting to click in a different way that may not be clicking with everybody else because, not for nothing, it's like directionless the way there's like no direction with the way politics is running now. And when I say politics, I mean like social politics, like just like, oh yeah, this is like like now there's like a million genders, and that was never a conversation 20 years ago.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like there's something new every second, and it's like there's no room to adjust to nothing. Like, what are you trying to do? Like, you need to have a cap on something, figure out something, because the lawlessness is escalating too much. You gotta allow yourself to become aware of the reality of what's happening because it's not It's not what you think.
One thing that
I don't went in a
people
different direction, but yeah.
one thing that people don't take into consideration is the physiological and spiritual consequences of intermingling with different spirits at a young age, because it's not something that is talked about a lot. In my household, yeah, we know about God. We went to church. We didn't go to church every day. It stopped at some point. At some point, it wasn't frequent enough to like you weren't sitting down at the table with your grandpops and your moms and this, that, and the third, and talking about, hey, look, I know you 9, 10, 12 years old, 15 years old, and you want to go out here, and I know you horny and this, that, and the third. Well, this is what's going to happen when you go out here and you want to be a little fast little girl or fast little boy. You're going to have sex and you might end up getting someone pregnant, or you might catch it. You might have that talk, but you're not going to talk about how it mentally and it chemically changes and restructures certain parts of your mind and your body in the process, and that's what ends up taking us to the point to where you're now 40, 50 years old, overly aggressive, bitter, extra cautious, don't really want to give anybody any real advice. You have such high standards and inescapable preferences that can't be obtained because you spent your youth making all the bad decisions, or you had someone who was just looking over you, micromanaging you your entire life. You finally got a chance to break away from it. You stepped outside of the covering of the tribe. Satan got in, started introducing you to fetishes, Chad and Tyrone, Sexy Red, Cardi B, and all of them. You got turned on to it. Now you can't go back to anything normal because normal is boring. And the way that you view human beings is completely distorted. There's no way in the world you should be interested or finding something fascinating about a person who believes that the type of, all right, put it this way. Truth be told, most of the music that is out is secular. If you believe that this music is consumable, something is wrong. Because a lot of this music has a lot of demonic connotations added to it, specifically to get you out of your spiritual walk. That's where you have someone who is still living worldly versus someone who is still trying to get out of that, and they're more or less trying to follow their calling. And I think what I'm really saying is everybody wants love at some point. Everybody wants to be with their person. We all did it the wrong way. Most of us, not all of us, but a large majority of us did it. And it's hard to unlearn some of that stuff because a lot of us are so broken and so like jaded. You look at everybody like they're the enemy. Like everybody is trying to take your money, your time, your resources. Nobody is pure anymore. Nobody wants to be there with you because of who you are as a person. You got to be 7 foot tall. You got to have the body of a Baywatch model. You got to have this and that. Everybody is superficial, overly superficial. And it's because we've been lied to. We didn't have people to sit down with us and really tell us how you having all of these spiritual ties with different vessels is going to mess you up. You done slept with 20, 30, 40 people. You think that you are yourself anymore? No, you're not. You're carrying broken fragments of 40 other human beings that you came across. That's why you have characteristics of them. You might laugh like Rob or Jason. You might make jokes like Ashley or somebody. You eventually you pick on or take on certain traits of people that you dealt with, and that's not always a good thing. So I think it's a combination of stuff. I think it's irresponsible to just take your lifespan, your experience, and then try to impart it on someone who is younger than you and disguise it as, well, I want to be with a younger woman because she's still fresh and she hasn't been tainted. Because that's really what a lot of the argument is. Older women are tainted, they're bitter, they're broken, they're ran through, and so I don't want to deal with the headache. They're too problematic. You can't tell them nothing because most of them have been so broken and so hurt that they will never ever be able to relax around a man who is solid and has any type of stable foundation. She's always going to challenge and question everything he does because she made so many horrible choices. Men, on the other hand, I guess you say it's a double standard. I personally think all of it is a mess. All of it is messy. People need to have some type of discipline over their flesh and reevaluate the way they see the world, the way that they look at love, life, the way we're supposed to properly love and vet, and get back to the basics. I yield the mic.
Well, speaking as a woman who I did my fair share of doing things, that, that doesn't necessarily mean that I didn't like have the realization that it affected me in a way that probably wasn't positive. I felt like, but that was also based off of like my initial first experience, which is a whole nother topic of conversation. So, I mean, that was molded young in a very not so great light. And I was able to identify that now later on in my life and made the changes necessary. So I won't say that it makes every woman like jaded and like not trust people. And, you have to, it all comes down to self-awareness. Like, have you been able to get in tune with yourself to even be able to admit that that's something that's affected you in that manner? I myself was able to, because I then felt a sense of kind of like a new strange feeling around it. Because if you're just doing it with everybody, what actually makes it personal with the person you want to do it with? Like, how do you then at that point, how do you differentiate anything that means anything? So for me, it was more so like, I don't want to just give my body to anybody just to give it to them. Like, that's sacred to me. And I went to therapy, and that helped me also like realize that it had an aftermath effect. So I think that, it is very much so different with men and women. But also women, I can't speak to other women. I can only speak for myself, and I had that realization, and maybe God placed it on my heart to kind of just see that that's not how I wanted to live my life anymore. Because all it did was cover up pain and sadness and hurt and things, trying to fill an empty void, just to feel something other than pain, upset, heartbreak, and that's not a good coping mechanism, and it's not good for your spirit and your soul. So I think that it's very much so different for each person, and I can't speak to other people's experiences, but that's mine, and I do believe that God placed that on my heart.
Yeah. It depends on what the person has decided to do with themselves. We cannot now, just to put this out there, like, this is not condemning people. We do not condemn, but it's just that, you know, as time goes on, you become aware of the consequences of every choice that we have. Every choice we make has a consequence, either good or bad. We don't dwell on the mistakes that we make. You just you make a point to learn from it, because the enemy is the one that's gonna remind you all the time of, like, see what you did here and now you won't get this, and that's not necessarily true. How
Right.
many people have come from, very horrible spots in youth and bloom later? Sometimes we're just late bloomers. Sometimes that's all it is. And you know, I get what you're saying, bro. That as well, like with Randy. I don't know why I call it Randy. Sorry. Like, issue. It depends on self awareness. Um, that is the story that apparently older women are the ones that still carry certain traumas. Um, but I guess it depends on who you talk to. Um, Sometimes the content that's allowed can be very annoying, because it's not always a fair comparison. Because Red Pill will push the idea of, like, they call out the
What is
issues in
red pill?
dating.
I don't know what red pill is. I'm sorry.
Sorry, no, red pill is the term that they use for, like, I guess, a topic of conversation or a perspective on something. I don't know how to explain it, but it's just a term that floats around, like blue and red pill. But blue is, like, I think guys are considered beta male. Red pills alpha male type material, but the alpha male ones still carry toxic traits because of who keeps pushing it, like Andrew Tate and guys like
Mm,
that.
okay.
So it's like, in one area they push the idea of, entrepreneur yourself, develop yourself then in the meantime. But on the flip side, they'll still push the narrative of just dating around or just sleeping around, and that doesn't do anything, because then you're condemning women for the behaviors that also involve men. You can't condemn women and then celebrate guys. Like, that's very backwards. Even uh
It
the
happens all the
wrestler.
time.
No, no, but, like, I remember a wrestler, Jake the Snake Roberts, said that on Joe Rogan's podcast. Like, if a guy got with a girl, he's a stud. But if a girl slept around with a guy, she's
Hmm.
a hussy. So, for lack of a better word. So he's like, what kind of mindset is that? Well, like, that's true. Like, why are you condemning women for mutual sin amongst both parties? Can't celebrate one and condemn the other. Literally, the idea of the woman that was about to be stoned, that Jesus drew a line in the sand, and he was like, "He who was out sin, throw the first stone at this woman," and they all dropped. That fits into that of, like, don't condemn one person for something that you share blame in. And I don't know, I feel like there's something else I wanted to say, but, like, it varies. I think it's like anything else. 90% of people that you meet are not going to be it for you, at the very least, and very few are. Because as time goes on, your friends group shrinks for the better reasons.
Hmm.
You know,
Sure.
because Because eventually you see what values stick around better for you. So it depends on how much you want to grow up yourself. You know.
Here's a issue I have too, or a question that I pose. Why do you think it is so difficult for someone to date within their age range and they would prefer to date younger? I mean, I agree with the red pill, blue pill thing. I think most of it is grifting because true red pill holds everybody accountable. It's not about trying to slut someone out or shame somebody. It's about giving you a perspective that allows you to treat yourself fairly, set boundaries, while also mitigating the odds of being used and manipulated. The people who use red pill logic, most of them are talking to broken people that really don't grasp the understanding or the concept whatsoever. They just want more attention. They want love. They want affection. They want to be more accepted in the dating pool. Truth be told, the only way to know for sure what's for you and what's not for you is to find your calling and your purpose. Anything your calling and your purpose is a detriment to your life. They're just side missions until eventually God puts you right back where you're supposed to be at. You ever notice in life how, and this ain't no judgment because I'm there, you go outside of his grace and his covering to go live your life the way you want to live it. And guess what? Somebody or something always is put in a position to detour you right back to where you're supposed to be at. It never fails. And so when you say, oh, I want to deal with somebody that is younger than me, are you saying that you want to deal with someone that is younger than you because based off of your experience, you're trying to apply your growth in a healthy way and impart it in a area where they haven't been affected by it yet? Or are you doing it because of your flesh and you just trying to get your rocks off? Because every adult isn't out here just utterly destroyed and desensitized. Social media would have you believe that's the case, but everybody is not that bad off. Unfortunately, you can't make an argument and say that it's not. When I talk about this stuff, I'm not speaking specifically to anyone's personal situations. I'm talking in general. What I'm seeing on social media, what I'm recording and covering. These are folks that give out horrible advice. They only tell you one side of it. They don't tell you everything. Because men, guess what? I didn't say this before. I'll say it now. Men in soul ties, when they sleep around with multiple women, guess what? They become broken too. The prison system is filled with men who could not handle breakups, cheating. They couldn't handle that girl or that woman being with other men outside of him. Jezebel spirit. The Jezebel spirit doesn't just apply to women, it applies to men too. It exists in both. That's why I say we pretty much screwed ourselves because we wanted to have fun and just be out here experimenting. I know it's like going into Toys R Us. Remember that game show where it's like you get to run through Toys R Us and whoever grabbed the most stuff and bring it back, you were the
Yeah.
just like that. And we all did it at some point. Some of us still doing it at our grown age, but it got y'all crashing out. You going through people's phones, you scrolling through it, looking for cheating. You stalking them on social media under fake accounts. You running them over in cars. One woman I did a reaction to. This woman, the dude broke up with her, was living with another woman. This woman drove from Florida all the way to Canada or something like that. Knocked on the door, shot his girlfriend, killed her in front of her kids, and now she's doing life in jail because she didn't know how to let go of the dude. And then you got dudes who killed the woman just because she was 7 years old, and I don't want nobody to know that I was sleeping with my daughter. And like, there's things that happen in the spirit that change the way that you see life in such a horrible way that you just couldn't grasp it. And I don't know, man. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Oh man. Yeah.
Guys, I hate to cut this short, but I have to go into the grocery store the grocery store before it closes. It's my son's last day of school tomorrow. But
Oh.
it's been
Oh.
yeah, yeah.
Oh.
No, handle your business.
I'm gonna lose you.
No, you good. You good. I'm glad you
All
could
right.
make it. Handle your business. Thank you for being on
Y'all
with
have a
us.
good night. Thank
You
you.
Yeah,
too.
have a good night, Randy.
All right.
Be
Bye.
safe. Bye. Wow.
A lot to unpack, ain't it?
Yeah, it's a lot. You asked a question, but I forgot what it was specifically. Why do you think people are
So
attracted?
the question was, what is the real reason for a cougar or an older man to have so much interest in someone that's younger?
Everyone keeps blaming lust. It usually comes down to that because it can lead you in different directions. It kind of becomes this when it's untamed, it can lead you to go in a direction that is not godly design because then think about it, guys, when you're older and you strictly only date younger women, you're dating women that will be your daughter's age after a certain point. And that's like, how does that not bother you? And they get so you get so driven by something that you're not allowing yourself to realize what you're doing. And I believe that seems to be the driving force. Sometimes I think it just comes down to that. Depending on how much younger, obviously, and why. If there's compatibility, and sometimes that happens. I mean, Charlie Kirk's. I know people have mixed feelings with him, but like, Charlie Kirk's, his wife is older than him. Um, I mean, was he my age? Yeah, he was my age when he died, and she's 37, 38. They were together for a while. Is the only example I know of someone who's like, oh, well, actually, no. I know a married couple where the wife is older than the husband, and they're married for years. They have like 3 children, happy as can be. So it depends on like why. If it's just the intention will tell you, and it also depends how far of a gap it is. Like, is there an exception to the rule for you or not? But lust can drive a lot of factors. So when it's when it generally comes down to that. I mean, sex is losing its value. I remember, Dave Chappelle said years ago, this is in his old stand up. I won't quote the word because he cursed, but he basically said, like, if sex was in stock, it would plummet because it's given away too easily. And, like, it's true. There's like if you treat sex like a marketing product, when you don't carry its value and you saturate the market with it, it loses its value. So when it's not kept within marriage like that, a healthy marriage, and you approach it the way God wants you to, then the value stays there. I mean, granted, don't let your past affect your future so much, so where you don't allow yourself to enjoy whatever comes your way. But it's just that's just the general rule of like how to best approach it, so that way it keeps its value. Monogamy is hard, but it's not like it doesn't have to be as hard as it already is. You know, technology has proven to play a big factor in things as to why things kind of plummet. Like this is overstimulating to look at a camera all the time. You want an idea when Pixar was making Toy Story 2, they did that within a year, and they were working so reckless. They were not recklessly. They were working so relentlessly that a lot of them got affected by staring at the screen all day. Like they were. This is when it was a blue light screen, so they got affected by that blue light a lot. From what I remember learning in a documentary. So this could be dangerous if you don't dip a little bit back into the early 2000s, a little bit. Our minds could probably be distorted for a while. Allow yourself to detox from things. There's a reason why some people are going backwards.
That might be an conversation to have. Because I do believe sex will always be a marketable product in terms of, all right, I need you on this app. How do I get you here? I got to put a pretty face up there. But if you're talking about you're looking for a husband or a wife, does that look the same? I'm going to even argue. I might have to do something like that. I will even have to argue and say that at some point, monogamy is going to become such a high commodity that somehow people are going to find a way to make money off of it because it's rare.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny how it's most the more primary driver in marketing though. No, it is true. Like they got shows like I think they already make money off of it. You can think of shows like Married at First Sight, if Love is Blind. A lot of these reality shows kind of play on that. That's really them already making money off of the idea of monogamy, specifically those shows, because they fixate on the marital on reaching marital status in a relationship. One is you do it blindly, the other one is you build up towards it. Can you love someone without seeing them and love them for what they are when you meet them? And love is blind in a sense, but the way that the show builds it, it's up to you to decide. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree, Chef. I agree with you too. Frankly, I'm gonna say I've seen people say that they married in a age gap type of situation where it's like 10 years apart and stuff like that, and they still together to this day.
Yeah.
I think that at the end of the day, it all really depends on the mindset of the person and the individual who decides to take that route. If you vet properly, you'll always, like I say, you have a 90% chance or more of being successful. But if you just out here jumping around and your inspiration is SpongeBob or some random commercial from Blue Chew or something like that, then yeah, you're going to keep running into the same problems over and over again.
Yeah. A repeated I forget what I said. Expecting change from repeating the same thing is insanity, I think. I think that's the quote. I forget. It's something along those lines. Yeah, something has to change in order for you to change. You can't do the same thing and expect something different. So, I
My
mean,
final
but
thoughts.
yeah,
My final thoughts on this whole thing is preference. Preference is preference. Are your preferences based off of superficial ideologies, or are your preferences based off of more solid logic, more biblical presence? Where are you getting your needs and your wants from? Are you looking at this stuff based on what you've read or what you've heard? Or is social media raising you? Do you have a tribe? Do you have solid fellowship? Do you have yes men around you and giving you information? Are you listening to grifters and panhandlers who are just telling you whatever they need to tell you in order for you to subscribe to them and follow them? Like, are you lying to yourself, basically? Because some folks got friends and family around them that rather tell them a lie than tell them the truth, and it ain't doing them no good.
yeah. What is on the final note? Like, what does your spiritual life look like? Start there. You know, would it hurt you to talk to Jesus about things if you haven't already? Like, bring these things to him. Like, even if you never talked to him before, just talk to him like you would a person and see what he tells you. He'll tell you one way or the other. Um, I always encourage that at the end of the day because you know I've seen evidence in the fact that I've been through things and I've still come out clean, and you know little by little change happens for me. Um, I will say that like it's true what he said. What what are you really after? What are your real intentions? And I know that some people say like if we could all just be real honest with each other, it should go fine. But if you show up to a date and be all like, I just want sex, you either, the odds of you running into someone that is like, yeah, sure, why not? It really depends on where you're meeting them, but it's just don't allow yourself to go into a place where you feel empty at the end of the day. Soul ties are a thing. There's a reason why you feel like that heaviness when you're done because something's not right. It's easy to get influenced by the spirits that wander the earth from the enemy who has commanded his minions to just have influence that's beyond measure. The Jezebel spirit is a thing for a reason because it pushes the narratives that go against God's design. There's a reason why after Adam and Eve, the fall of man happens right away because of the influence of the enemy. That one thing is we're trickled a human trait that hasn't left us now. But the good news is that the Lord God has made a way for where that trait doesn't drive us when we allow Him to guide us. So I pray that everyone just turns to Christ, start from there, and you'll see things play out. And sometimes your desires will change for the better. Sometimes your initial desires might just change. Your initial dreams might turn into what God wants for you, and you actually find more peace in it because you start to realize why something doesn't get to happen. It's like anything else. Some people, I mean, even non-believers believe that one door closes, another one opens, and sometimes it's like, yeah, what you thought was good, you end up finding better. You can see it in some TV shows, at least old ones. So to give you a different perspective.
Salutes, bro. This was a good show. Shout outs to Randy, Miss Scorpio, Chef, everybody who pulled up and joined in on the conversation. I appreciate y'all sharing y'all experiences and y'all thoughts in the comments because this is a never-ending conversation. We'll have more like this in the future at some point, but for now, I'm satisfied and grateful for this one. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of y'all evening. Me and Sydney will be tapping in tomorrow at 8, just in case y'all want to join us, man. It's going to be a goodie. Not going to want to miss that. Shout outs to everybody who's been showing love. If I don't get to chop it up with y'all tomorrow, you, Randy, hope y'all have a blessed weekend. Y'all be safe on the road. And do me a solid before y'all go, if you don't mind.
What's the goddamn button?
Yeah.
Y'all be easy, all right?
You too, man. Have a good night. Be well to everyone there. Have a good day and have a good night.
The flow insane, take my spot, so the range. Shoot my shot with perfect aim. 3rd degree, that perfect flame. Ain't no sleep, that's the game. Oh, so southern, that's the slang. When they see me, that's the main. Chasing checks and fly like planes. Big old stick, I bought a cane. Flick my wrist and bought the ring. I'm so boss, we're not the same. Paid the cost and kept the change. Now I'm walking Hall of Fame. And I reside in the cloud. Grand wishes with these bitches. Taking pictures with the crowd.